Hola, ¿qué tal? Bienvenidos a otra Satchel class. Soy Mr. Castrillón, and today we are going to be talking about cities or towns. The title today is Mi Ciudad, because I decided to change slightly the name as Mi Pueblo in Spanish. It actually implies something very, very small, a place that is very small, is a kind of a village kind of thing. So that's why I decided to change it into Mi Ciudad. Okay, today's lesson is a Key Stage 3 lesson. It's for year 7, but of course it doesn't mean that all the students are not welcome to join us. If you want to join us and you're in year 8, year 9, 10 or 11, feel free to join this lesson and learn some important words that we use in Spanish for this. Okay, so let's have a look at the topics today. Hoy vamos a repasar el vocabulario de lugares en nuestra ciudad. Vamos a aprender algunas preposiciones de lugar, tales como junto a y cerca de. Hoy vamos a traducir oraciones al inglés y vamos a describir nuestra ciudad. So, quite a few things today. The first thing is that we're going to learn lots and lots of words, vocabulary that is really important, that relates to places in a city. But also we are going to use some prepositions, not all of them, of course, but some that are really important and that are easy to remember and learn. So today's lesson has kind of two things, or two very important objectives, which is basically revise vocabulary, but also include some really important sentences with prepositions in them. Okay, so the first thing we are going to do is we are going to actually revise the words or the vocabulary for la ciudad. So let's start with the first one. El hospital, un hospital. El hospital, un hospital. I want you to take notice of a certain thing that I'm doing in Spanish. I'm not saying el hospital, like two different or separate words. I'm actually putting them in one sound. El hospital, un hospital. So that happens every time you have a vowel and you have a consonant at the end of a word. So say, for instance, here you have el and then o, and then that makes el hospital. And it happens the same here, un hospital, un hospital. And that sounds very, very clear and also sounds very, I would say, natural to us. Let's continue. La iglesia, una iglesia. La iglesia, una iglesia. I want you to take notice of what they mean because I won't be translating them, but hopefully you'll see by the picture what they mean. El colegio, un colegio. El colegio, un colegio. El supermercado, un supermercado. El supermercado, un supermercado. Also take notice of those words that are masculine and those words that are feminine. And I'm using two different articles here. I'm using el and un. El is the supermarket in this case. Un supermercado, a supermarket. El parque, un parque. El parque, un parque. La estación de policía. La estación de policía. Una estación de policía. La tienda, una tienda. El cine, un cine. El banco, un banco. El restaurante, un restaurante. La cafetería, una cafetería. La oficina postal, una oficina postal. Very important here, we also have this expression in Spanish. I'm just going to write it here for you. We also have una oficina de correos. Okay, we have two words. I chose postal because it's slightly easier to remember. But once you are kind of stronger in Spanish, you have more practice, feel free to use una oficina de correos. There is no problem in using una oficina postal or la oficina postal. It's just that with una oficina de correos, you are including new words or new vocabulary that you actually will do a lot better with. Let's continue. El museo, un museo. La peluquería, una peluquería. La floristería, una floristería. Now, we have very important prepositions here next, which I would like you to write down. We have al frente de, junto a, cerca de, entre, detrás de. By the way, these are just 5, but there are many more that we use in Spanish and of course in English to express the position of an object in reference to another one. And it's important to remember that some of these ones in English will have, for instance, 2 words sometimes. So the most important thing that we are going to do today is we are going to use these 5 with some sentences that we are going to be looking at in a few minutes later. Also, I want you to take to write them down because we will need them for the next lesson, for the next few slides of the lesson. Okay, so I'll repeat them so you can learn the pronunciation of them. Al frente de, junto a, cerca de, entre, detrás de. Okay, keep an eye on the ending here, de, a, de, because most prepositions of place, if you like, they will have that de. So it's a combination of different words actually. And these are like prepositional phrases as they call them. Right, so let's continue. So here we go. We have a map of my small city. And as you can see, I have different places. Let's try and remember what they are. Hospital. I'm going to go from the top left across. Hospital. Iglesia. Cafetería. Peluquería. Floristería. Banco. Hospital, again. Cine. Then we have here un supermercado, otra cafetería, estación de policía, la oficina de correos, el banco, un parque, un museo, un restaurante, otro parque, otro restaurante, una tienda, otra iglesia, un hospital, otro parque, otro restaurante. Now, take notice that I said otro, and that means another one, another of that place, another hospital, another church, and so on. So now I'm going to show you some sentences that I would like you to translate into English. And let's see where you can actually work out what they actually mean. So let's see the first one. En mi ciudad hay un colegio. El colegio está junto a la iglesia. Now, just as a hint, feel free to look at the screen. There's going to be a yellow box, a yellow frame that is going to be around the places that I'm talking about. Now, if you have found it, I would like you to try and understand what it means. I'm going to repeat the sentence. En mi ciudad hay un colegio. El colegio está junto a la iglesia. Good. Let's see the next sentence. En mi ciudad hay una cafetería que está cerca de la estación de policía. Now, I want you to look at that sentence. It's a very rich, beautiful, big sentence that you can use when you're doing your writing exercise at school. I have lots of elements, and hopefully by now you'll see lots of them that are very familiar to you, that you know what they mean. And I will repeat the sentence so you can practice your pronunciation with me. En mi ciudad hay una cafetería que está cerca de la estación de policía. Right, next one. En mi ciudad, la estación de policía está frente al parque. I'll repeat that. En mi ciudad, la estación de policía está frente al parque. Okay. Now, I want you to take note of all these prepositions that I'm using and how each place relates to the other one. So, of course, we're talking about the police station, and we are also talking about the park. So, in relation to the park, where is the police station? And of course, you are going to have a word in your mind, and that is the one that we are using for frente al. La peluquería se encuentra entre la cafetería y la floristería. Okay, that's good. En mi ciudad hay dos hospitales. Remember that you can actually include that you have more than one place in your city. El cine queda muy cerca del centro comercial. El cine queda muy cerca del centro comercial. Hay un restaurante detrás de la iglesia. El museo queda detrás del restaurante. Perfect. So now my question to you is, ¿dónde está? And what I would like you to do is I'm going to give you some sentences. Here we go. And what I would like you to do is I want you to translate them into English. I'm going to give you 3 minutes for that, and then we are going to see what they actually mean. 3 minutes, and I'm going to just go away from the screen so you don't get distracted, and then we'll see each other in about 3 minutes. Go for it. Two minutes left. One minute left. Well done. How did it go? How do you feel with this exercise? Did you learn some new words? Did you learn some new expressions? Did you revise what you've learned so far? That's great. Now let's see what the meaning for each one of these, or the translation for this one, each one of those sentences is. So I'm just going to take here my mouse. Here we go. The first one. La iglesia está cerca del restaurante. The church is near the restaurant. Okay. Cerca del is near. El museo está frente al parque. The museum is opposite the park. El museo está frente al parque. La floristería está junto a la peluquería. La floristería está junto a la peluquería. El hospital está frente al parque. El hospital está frente al parque. So I want you to have a look and see. I'm using now frente, which is opposite, and also before the one next to, junto a. El banco está junto al hospital. The bank is next to the hospital. La oficina postal está en el centro de la ciudad. The post office is in the city center. Look at how I say centro de la ciudad, or how I say city center in Spanish. Hay una tienda junto a la iglesia. Sometimes you can just say there is. Hay una tienda junto a la iglesia. There is a shop near the church. Y finalmente, hay un parque entre el hospital y el restaurante. There's a park between the hospital and the restaurant. Oh, we have the last one. Hay una cafetería detrás de uno de los bancos. There is a coffee shop behind one of the banks. Great. So look at all these sentences. Feel free to take a picture of them. Feel free to take note of those or write them down. Come back to the website, and also, of course, repeat and rewatch the video, and that's going to give you the chance to practice a lot. Now let's see where you can actually describe your own city. So basically, try to say what is there in your city. Answer these questions. How many hospitals are there next to your house? How many police stations are there in your city? And what is next to your school in your city? Now, this is an example of things that you could actually say. The challenge, however, is to say how many streets away you live from the nearest hospital, coffee shop, or cinema, for instance. So these all are examples, okay? So feel free to describe your city. The most important thing is that you at least use 5 places, and then you can actually say which or how each place relates to the next one. So for instance, you can say near, between, behind, and so forth. Okay, I'm gonna give you 2 minutes for this exercise. Go for it. I'm back. Right, so before we go, a couple of things that we need to remember about the city. Always use prepositions, right, to improve your sentences. Don't just say there is a police station. Say there is a police station next to the hospital, and that is going to increase the quality of your writing or your speaking. So for instance, if you say anything like hay un hospital detrás de la iglesia, of course, that's going to sound a lot better than just saying hay un hospital. Also, remember that if you want to challenge yourself, not just use one place, use several places. And also try to say queda. Queda is a very important word, but we will use that one, we will learn that one in another one of our lessons. So, muy bien. We revised the words in Spanish for places in the city. We learned some prepositions of place. We translated some sentences from Spanish into English, and we described our city. Very well done, muy bien, and I hope I can see you very soon in another Satchel class. Por ahora, hasta pronto.